Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are watching the EBC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. I am Philip Toledo, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, we'll hear from several of our correspondents across North America and beyond. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Canada, reports about Saskatchewan's plan to start reopening the province at the beginning of May. Joining us from all the way from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, Emmy Kapili Toroha.
Steady decline of COVID-19 cases in Australia.
Ken Cruz in Fort Washington, Maryland.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser is creating a committee to prepare for a post-COVID-19 city.
Jericho Montefalcon in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Tornado strikes Texas, killing 3 and injuring at least 20. And Texas residents react to the end of the shelter in place.
Jomel Flores in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Is Nevada ready to open?
And from North Hollywood, California, Mylene Clusio.
LA County offers an ebook service library at home and waives pet adoption fees during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ika Chong in Fremont, California will report about the East Bay SPCA giving away free pet food this Friday. And JP Era in Sacramento, California updates us on how Sacramentans celebrate Earth Day with chalk art, fundraising, and an information campaign. Plus, later on, we'll meet a high school teacher in Rockaway, New York, as she shares with us the challenges and rewards of distance learning. And then finally, a sneak peek of EBC's online concert, #Fundemic. Enjoy the music beyond the crisis. But first, let's have an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 2 p.m. Eastern Time today, April 23, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 2,600,000. This includes more than 850,000 in the United States and more than 42,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 187,000 lives worldwide. This includes more than 47,000 deaths in the US and more than 2,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. Saskatchewan is to start reopening the province at the beginning of May. Eagle News correspondent Thomas Likeness in Edmonton has the story.
Canadian province of Saskatchewan is wasting no time restarting its economy. Now, this province has had only a small number of cases of COVID-19 compared to other provinces. Only 326 people have been infected since the start of the outbreak, and the province only reports 4 deaths from COVID-19. So Premier Scott Moe says it's time to get things going. He wants to start on May 4th. That's when he's launching phase 1 of a 5-phase strategy that he's worked out. At that time, dentists and other medical practitioners, such as doctors, chiropractors, physiotherapists, they'll be allowed to reopen their clinics. Practitioners, of course, will have to wear gloves and face masks because in most cases they can't distance properly from their patients. Also that day, fishing and recreational boating will be allowed to resume. Now, golf courses, this is something a lot of people have been pushing for. Golf courses will be open on May 15th, but anybody riding on a golf cart, one person only per cart. Overnight camping, that will resume on June 1st, but there's a restriction, only Saskatchewan residents, nobody from outside the province, because the Premier just doesn't want people coming in with hitchhikers, the hitchhiker, of course, being the coronavirus. Phase 2 is going to begin on May 19th. Now, that's when retail services such as clothing and shoe stores, flower shops, electronics stores, all those non-essential retail businesses, they will be allowed to reopening. But now those establishments will have to limit the number of customers in their stores and also ensure distancing. Also reopening will be hair salons, massage practitioners, acupuncturists, so you can get that haircut. May 19th, the target for that. Now, the final 3 phases, no target for when those will go into effect. Now, this will involve things like restaurants, swimming pools, theaters, museums, large entertainment venues. These will all be staged, ultimately ending with the removal of all restrictions. Again, no timelines there. Premier Moe was asked, is he moving too fast?
Over the last number of weeks, there has been many retail stores in Saskatchewan that have remained open. Grocery stores, for example, hardware stores, pharmacies, banks, and liquor stores have all been allowed to be open, and these businesses, we have observed, have implemented new practices, limiting the number of customers in their stores, for example, ensuring physical distancing for the safety of employees and their customers, increased their disinfecting of all surfaces, and as a result, we have not seen major outbreaks that have started at Saskatchewan businesses. We have flattened the curve, even as these businesses have remained open over the course of the last number of months.
Over here next door in Alberta, Alberta Premier Jason Kenney says he'll have more details next week for Albertans on when restrictions here might be eased. There doesn't seem to be the appetite to move quite as fast.
As I said 2 weeks ago to Albertans, if we let the virus loose, we would lose the value of all of the sacrifices that we have made to date, and we would simply have to shut down even more of our economy more harshly and probably for a longer period of time, causing even more damage.
Alberta has just over 3,400 cases of COVID-19. There's been 66 deaths. One other thing I want to mention, the Calgary Stampede, it's been around for 108 years. It's been an annual event for the last 97. For the first time in that 97 years, it's been canceled. You know, not even world wars could shut it down, not even the Great Depression. Organizers, though, say COVID-19 killed it this year. It's just too dangerous to hold the event. It'll be back next year. You know, the Stampede has been called the greatest outdoor show on earth. It features a world-class rodeo, chuck wagon races, a midway, all kinds of fun, all kinds of events throughout the city. Truly a loss for Calgarians, and I know they'll be looking forward to next year. In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
We continue to hope for good news coming out of our neighbors to the north. Thank you, Thomas. Now, there is a steady decline of COVID-19 cases in Australia. Eagle News correspondent Emmy Kapili-Taroha in Brisbane has the details.
For the latest updates on COVID-19 here in Australia, this week has been observed to having been a steady decline in cases observed in states and territories. However, it is too soon to tell whether this trend will be sustained. Over the past week, an average of 28 new cases reported daily from New South Wales. But some states, on the positive note, recorded 0 cases in certain days this week. These states include Queensland, Australian Capital Territory, and Western Australia. The cases under investigation in each state and territory is relatively low, implying that the public health actions, among other interventions, is occurring in a timely manner. Here's the latest numbers as of 3 p.m. yesterday, Thursday. There has been a total of 6,661 cases of COVID-19 with 75 deaths and 5,000 recoveries. But a massive 466,000 tests have been conducted nationally, spearheaded by the government itself, which is actually 1.4% of that have been recorded positive. The nature of cases in Australia is attributed to 64% from international travel, including cruise ships. Now, where are we now in terms of Australian government response? The aim of the government is really 2 things: manage and minimize. Manage the risk and the demand of the health systems, as well as minimize the numbers of infections and deaths. the government has actually been deciding based on an evidence-based platform or a modeling of the impact of COVID-19 in Australia, and has been actually watching the world and how it responded early on this year. This model is taking into account business as usual scenarios versus preventive measures in place, and from then on became the basis of their responses since January. They have affected social distancing, and also people were advised to stay at home for the meantime, and people that have tested positive underwent isolation and self-quarantine. This efforts from the government actually is being implemented at the moment, as it in fact a concerted effort by the national government along with the state and territory governments, coupled with the government sanctioned committees such as the Australian Health Protection Public Committee, or AHPPC, and the general public as well, which the general public plays an important and a pivotal role to ensure the success of all this response. The response so far in Australia, in fact, they have closed the travel borders. There has been travel restrictions already. No more flights inbound Australia and also interstate. And physical distancing and stay-at-home has been implemented up until this moment. The stay-at-home restrictions may last until the end of June. And as what Health Minister Greg Hunt mentioned in one of his press conferences, these responses are contrary to the Australian culture, but essential for our future. In terms, of course, of keeping the business and the economy afloat, the Australian government had rolled out packages staggeredly since early March so that all the economic sectors affected will be assisted. The economic support package, around $17.6 billion, has been rolled out to encourage investment and keep people in jobs. And the health package as well, which has reached $2.4 billion, has been rolled out to protect all Australians. The Medicare subsidized telehealth services is also funded with $669 million so that all Australians has access to quality health care while at home. And to support the mental health and well-being of its citizens, $74 million was allocated for this service. Plus, on top of these ones, enhanced services such as purchase deliveries and also taking care of the affected sectors like the aged, the persons with disability, and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. There are also programs for support in these times of pandemic. In Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, Emmy Kapili Taroha will live in interesting times.
Thank you, Emmy. Now, I've heard that Anzac Day is an important day for Australians, but these public celebrations, they're cancelled. How are most Australians planning to celebrate alternatively?
Yes, due to the COVID-19 restrictions here in Australia, Anzac Day, which is really a very important celebration. Anzac actually means Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, and Anzac Day is a day of remembrance to remember the peacekeepers, the heroes of the war, those that fought in conflict areas. This very important ceremony will move forward, however, within the confines of our homes, via television, watching the ceremonies from the Australian War Memorial on TV and online. Now, in Queensland, the Queensland government has urged all Queenslanders to light up some candles, go to the driveway, to the balconies, and light these candles at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, April 25, altogether, so as to commemorate Anzac Day.
Well, thank you, Emmy. I know it's not ideal, but I hope you're still able to enjoy those celebrations. Stay safe.
Thank you, Phil.
Now in Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser is creating a committee to prepare for a post-COVID-19 city. Ken Cruz in Fort Washington has the story.
Thanks, Philip. DC Mayor Bowser provided a situational update today regarding the city's current coronavirus status and its plans on when and how to reopen Washington, D.C. What you're looking at on screen is the PowerPoint containing the details which was made available for the public debate. Mayor Bowser said today that while it's too soon to set a date on when safety restrictions will be lifted in the district, a committee is being formed to figure out what a post-COVID-19 DC will look like. She added that she's aiming for everyday life to look different from how it did before the pandemic hit. Bowser announced the formation of a reopened DC advisory group comprising of government and community leaders, composed of 12 committees, including one focused on equity. She said, quote, "We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reopen our city in a way that builds a more equitable DC, and we should not let this opportunity pass us by. Calling racial inequalities and how they play out in front of our eyes a distressing element of the pandemic. When we get on the other side of this, we have to do better, and we have to tackle the long-standing inequities," end quote. She also said, quote, "As we think of reopening, we see this as an opportunity not just to go back to the way things were before, but to do and be better than before," end quote. In Virginia, Governor Ralph Northam on Thursday extended the ban on elective surgeries in the Commonwealth another week until May 1st, and the closure of public-facing DMV locations until May 11th. He also announced that the suspension of Virginia State Police enforcement of motor vehicle inspections would continue through the end of July. Local law enforcement can still issue citations, but the governor is asking them not to do so. Some good news in Maryland. Jose Andres is world central kitchen. So Jose Andres is world-renowned, famous chef, which has been delivering food to people hit by disasters worldwide, will be distributing free food in Baltimore on Saturday to people dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. Between 10,000 and 20,000 individually packed meals will be available for residents to pick up and take home on Saturday between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Camden Yards Sports Complex. The meal site will continue to operate each Saturday as the community needs remain. This is per Governor Larry Hogan's office. As for the numbers, the total reported number of COVID-19 cases in DC, Maryland, and Virginia has passed 30,000 in numbers released today. In DC, new cases went up by 155, so a total of 3,361. 12 more people have passed away for a total of 139 deaths. In Maryland, the number of new confirmed cases went up by nearly 1,000 to 15,737, while 49 new deaths were reported for a total of 680. And Virginia reported a total of 10,998 confirmed or suspected of COVID-19, with 370 confirmed deaths and 2 probable deaths. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Ken Cruz, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Ken, for those updates from the area. Now, when we think of Washington, D.C., that's the nation's capital. There's a lot of people who like to travel there to see the monuments, the museums, and the way that laws are made. What is it going to take for Washington, D.C. to reopen completely?
Sure. So like what's been voiced by leaders from other states, including Maryland's Governor Hogan, Mayor Bowser said that in order to reopen D.C., there need to be consistent downward trend in new cases for a 2-week period. Also, the healthcare system must be able to treat everyone who needs care without the use of crisis standards of care. So those are the 2 main things that the city needs to happen in the city in order for DC to start opening. And it's going to be a multi-phase project. But it's really depending on the numbers and how its residents continue to physically distance themselves from one another. One thing that they're doing right now too that I wanted to add is they're widening some of the streets for the future. So that's some good news. And I think that starts next week already. They're widening about like 12 streets in DC to help with the social distancing moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, we hope things continue to trend in the right direction. Thank you, Ken, and stay safe. Now, we'll have more updates from our correspondents when we come back in just a moment. Eagle News will return shortly. Stay with us.
This program is presented by
SMC Infrastructure, building a better world.
Co-presented by Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Kubert Industries Incorporated, Trading and Services, the cooling expert. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer, DN Steel, EMAT UPVC Roof Corporation.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Welcome back. You're watching the EBC international coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. I am Philip Toledo in Atlanta, Georgia. A tornado strikes Texas, killing 3 and injuring at least 20. And at the same time, Texas residents react to the end of their shelter in place. In Corpus Christi, Texas, Jericho Montefalcon has the details.
On Wednesday, a tornado touched down in Polk City, killing 3 people and injuring at least 20. Governor Greg Abbott, together with Polk County Judge Sidney Murphy, issued a joint statement today that officials are working together towards recovery efforts, providing resources for the communities that suffered severe damage. Overnight, Judge Murphy announced a local state of disaster for Polk County, with an emergency shelter set up for displaced residents at Dunbar Gymnasium in Livingston. The Texas Division of Emergency Management, together with other state agencies, has been deployed to help with search and rescue, debris clearing, and mass care efforts. The governor also announced today that the Texas Health and Human Services Commission will be receiving nearly $54 million in federal funds to support older Texans and people with disabilities during this COVID-19 pandemic. These funds will support services such as home-delivered meals, help with chores and groceries, respite care, and other family caregiving services. As of the latest count to date, a total of 21,944 COVID cases were confirmed in Texas, with 561 fatalities and 8,025 recovered. Here in the Corpus Christi, Nueces County area, Judge Barbara Canales issued the Second Amendment to the stay-at-home order on Monday, which corresponds with Governor Abbott's orders for the lifting of restrictions for certain elective medical procedures and allowing retail to go for selected businesses. Let's hear from a couple of Texas residents who expressed their reactions towards the reopening of Texas.
A little bit too early, honestly. I think the governor is just kind of bowing down to the government, I guess we'll say. I hope that they're right, but I think if they're wrong, somebody's going to have to answer for it, you know. I mean, businesses are shut down. I mean, I know I'm working from home and stuff, but I'm pretty sure we'll be going back to work here pretty soon. Again, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's limited to 5 people or 10 people or 6 feet away. It's a matter of just one person. You know, everybody touches doorknobs, everybody touches water faucets, water coolers, or refrigerator doors or stuff like that. So it doesn't matter whether it's 5 or 10 people or 100 people. It's all it takes is just one person to touch a doorknob and not clean it. You know, but I don't go out. I mean, when I do go, it's usually I'll go take care of, you know, I'll go look at my boat and stuff, and there's nobody there. It's just me. It's in a barn, so I mean, I'm not really around people. I take care of my yard, and I have a gym in one of my bedrooms, so I work out pretty much every day at lunch. So, I mean, as far as staying connected, I mean, they talk on the phone or they FaceTime or stuff like that, but I mean, it's not the same. It's not the same as actually being there and giving her a hug or go see my mom. Or, you know, seeing her smile and stuff like that. Or it's not just her, but it's anybody, you know, whether it's a brother or a sister or a grandfather or anybody like that. You know. It's about an hour and a half away, and, you know, I talk to her 2-3 times a day and stuff, but I worry about her, and I may maybe get a chance to go see her this weekend, I don't know, but if I do, you know, I want to take her food. I mean, she's got plenty of food, but your mother's never going to tell you the truth because they don't want you to worry, so when I do go down, I'm going to take her food and water and just things that I think she needs.
Hi, my name is Saudi Lagon. I own an air conditioning business here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Well, about the lockdown, it has really affected my business because around this time last year, I already have like 10 calls in a day. Now I'm getting like 1 or 2. Yeah, I think this lockdown should stay a little bit longer, considering that the cases are still going up every day. Another month to stay at home just to make sure that this thing is, you know, taken care of permanently. My eldest daughter is in San Francisco. She's a nurse. And my youngest son is in Austin. Matter of fact, yesterday was my daughter's birthday, and we only had to go into FaceTime thing so we can, you know, greet her. Once this lockdown is over, can't wait to visit my family and hang with them, just like old times. Can't wait.
I think it's a little bit too early, honestly. I think.
As you notice, both residents expressed a common As you notice, both residents expressed a common thing they missed during this pandemic lockdown, which back was being held back together with their families, which was being back together with their families. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jericho Montefalcon. Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
No, thank you, Jericho, for that report. I know that many of us, we were also under stay-at-home orders or laws, and we all miss a lot of things about life before. What do you miss the most about before you had to shelter in place?
What I look forward to the most after this lockdown is just hanging out with my friends and eating together and doing outdoor stuff.
You mentioned eating together. Where would you go? Where's the first place?
At our favorite restaurant, it's called IT.
Oh, excellent. I used to live in Texas. I was hoping you were going to say Whataburger. Well, thank you very much, Jericho. You stay safe.
Thank you.
Now, let's go to Nevada. Is Nevada really ready to open? Legal News correspondent Jomel Flores is in Las Vegas and has the report.
Thanks, Philip. Before I go to my report, a quick update on our numbers specifically for Clark County, Las Vegas. The total cases is 3,314, 163 deaths, which has a rate of about 5%, and about 62% or a little over 2,000 of the positive cases have recovered. Now, here's a follow-up to our report 3 days ago regarding our Las Vegas Mayor, Carolyn Goodman, talking about reopening the Las Vegas Strip. As you may have already seen, there were some major backlash to her statements. Locally, Nevada Congresswoman Dina Titus, whose district includes the entire Las Vegas Strip, did give a statement in response to that. According to a press release from yesterday, she stated, and I quote, "We have to listen to the scientists, and right now they will tell us we must continue to stay at home as much as possible. Businesses in Las Vegas will only be able to recover if we take this pandemic seriously. The mayor does not represent the Las Vegas Strip, literally or figuratively," unquote. In addition, according to a press release from the Culinary Workers Union, Gioconda Arguello Klein stated that in Las Vegas alone, they've had 11 culinary union members die because of COVID-19. She also stated that health and safety is their priority, and both workers and guests have to be safe. In addition, she also stated that the Las Vegas Strip is outside of the mayor's jurisdiction and that she doesn't represent the Las Vegas Strip or the workers who are employed there. Now on to our headline. Governor Sisolak held a press conference 2 days ago where he unveiled a 4-phased approach to reopening Nevada's economy, and he stated that it is highly dependent upon expanded testing and tracing capacity. But he stated that before he and his team of experts can start with phase 1, the criteria which is guided and provided by the federal government has to be met. I just want to highlight some of the key points in the list of criteria. Consistent and sustainable downward trajectory of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations over a 14-day period. So decrease in trend of COVID-19 related hospitalizations and decline in percentage of people testing positive. Expanded ability for healthcare workers to administer tests for symptomatic patients, sufficient laboratory testing capacity to process COVID-19 samples, and sustain ability to protect our vulnerable populations. And in general, the ability for the healthcare and public health systems to adequately respond, which includes maintaining hospital capacity without being in crisis, and sufficient public health workforce, both local and statewide, to conduct case contact tracing with the main goal of being able to isolate if needed. So with all of that information, is Nevada ready to reopen? Probably not anytime soon. Governor Sisolak and his team have to ensure that they meet the criteria first, so they cannot release a firm date of when Phase 1 can begin. But let's go ahead and take a look at what Phase 1 would look like. Well, vulnerable populations will continue with shelter in place. The no gathering of 10 or more people will continue, along with the avoidance of non-essential travel. The governor and his team of experts are also considering to reopen certain businesses under the Phase 1, such as gyms, restaurants, movie theaters, sporting venues, and places of worship. So for us Nevadans, we'll continue to listen and follow the stay-at-home mandate as ordered by our local government. And for those of you who are getting anxious, please hang in there. Try some of the new recipes or DIY projects that our correspondents have shared from our previous reports by checking our EBC Digital Nest on YouTube or Facebook. In Las Vegas, Jomel Flores, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much for that report, Jomel. I just have to ask, you're there in Las Vegas, you've done the research yourself. What do you think? Is Nevada ready to reopen?
Personally, Philip, I don't think so, just because of the fact that Las Vegas is such a diverse place. People come and go. There are many types of people that live here. And at this time, we kind of don't know who is or is not asymptomatic. So I feel like it's definitely best for everyone to just stay at home and wait for everything to pass so that we'll have a better reopening.
Thank you. And I know you mentioned one of the things that people can do while they're at home is try those recipes that our fellow correspondents are putting out there. Have you tried any, Jomel? What's your favorite?
I haven't tried any of the ones that the correspondents have done, but I recently tried cooking shrimp. It turned out pretty okay, but there's definitely room for improvement there.
I'm sure we'll see a video from you very soon on how to cook shrimp.
Definitely.
Thank you, Jomel. Stay safe. And we're going to turn our attention to the state of California. In Los Angeles, the Los Angeles County offers an ebook service, Library at Home, and also waives pet adoption fees during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mylene Cusio in North Hollywood has the report.
Thank you, Philip. Today, the Los Angeles Public Health Department announced an increase of 1,081 new cases and 68 deaths in Los Angeles County, California, related to COVID-19. This brings the total to 17,508 confirmed positive cases throughout all areas of Los Angeles County, with a total of 797 deaths. Although a couple of states throughout the United States, such as Georgia and Colorado, are starting to open up business and lifting lockdown rules as early as this Sunday, here in Los Angeles County, we still remain with the safer at home guidelines in effect until May 15th or until further notice. According to Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, lifting the restrictions too soon could risk lives. My promise to the people of LA is that evidence and medicine will continue to guide us through this crisis. Rather than prematurely lifting the safer at home restrictions and orders in Los Angeles, Mayor Garcetti and the Los Angeles Public Health Department urges Angelenos to continue practicing physical distancing to slow the spread of COVID-19. Some of the activities the Los Angeles Public Health Department recommends as safe for individuals to do while practicing physical distancing are donating blood, taking a walk, group video chat, cook at home meals, do yard work, stream movies online, adopt a pet, family game nights, or read a book. While doing these activities are highly encouraged, the congregating or gathering of people outside of a household or residence is still not permitted. With physical distancing being mandated throughout all areas of Los Angeles County, the LA County Library is offering Library at Home, which is an ebook service through Overdrive Libraries, Hoopla Digital, and BiblioBoard. Those who would like to participate in this service can digitally check out books using their LA County Library card and PIN in order to read from the comfort of their homes. Another way for us to get through this difficult time is with the help of a pet to keep us company at home. Los Angeles County Animal Care and Control is currently waiving any adoption fees for those interested in adopting a pet during this crisis. For those interested in adopting an animal and providing a home for them during this crisis are asked to visit animalcare.lacounty.gov to make an appointment at a preferred location and to view animals available for adoption. In North Hills, California, Mylene Cusio, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Mylene. We know that you're a mother of two. You're probably stuck in the house like many of us. Do you plan to take advantage of this ebook service for your kids?
Actually, my kids are currently using Epic Reading and Benchmark, both of which are online reading through school. The school provides them the access to Epic Reading and Benchmark, which offers a variety of books for all ages and a good selection of genres. But it is still limited. My son can't read novels like Harry Potter, so we will nonetheless look into this ebook service through the LA County Library to look for Harry Potter book, Half-Blood Prince, and Deadly Hallows, as well as cooking books for my daughter.
Right now, your report also mentioned pet adoption, and you are a mother of two. Any chance your kids are beginning a new puppy in the future?
Unfortunately, not in the near future. Eventually, yes, but we are waiting for both of them to be more responsible enough to care for a new puppy. Until then, they can play with their cousin's dog that is well-trained and playful.
Well, I hope for their sake they get their act together soon. Thank you very much, Mylene. You guys stay safe out there. Now, moving towards Northern California, the East Bay Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals hosts a free pet food event this Friday. Aika Cheong in Sacramento reports.
In the Bay Area, the total number of confirmed cases of the coronavirus is at 6,000 plus, with the number of deaths at 213 since last week. We offer our condolences to the individuals and families of those who were affected by this pandemic. For those in need of assistance and struggling with expenses during this time, and for those who currently have pets, the East Bay SPCA is providing free pet food to dog and cat owners this Friday, April 24, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the East Bay SPCA in Oakland. The distribution will be done through a drive-through contactless method. Clients will drive up to the staff member, place their order of how much dog or cat food is needed, and then another staff member will fill the order and hand it through their car window. You're welcome to pick up enough food for up to 2 dogs and 2 cats. On another note, if you are in the financial position to make a donation, I encourage you to seek out more information on how you can help in your community. Stay home, stay healthy, stay happy. In Fremont, California, Aika Chong, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Aika. That's a good reminder that for many of us, our pets are part of our family, and they also have needs. Now, also in Sacramento, JP Era is going to report on how Sacramentans celebrate Earth Day with chalk art, fundraising, and an information campaign about how to care for the environment, keeping in mind the current pandemic safety measures.
Just an update here from Sacramento. As of today, there are a total of 987 confirmed cases in the Sacramento County and 41 deaths. Condolences to those who may be affected during this time. As we all know, Earth Day was just yesterday, and Sacramento residents celebrated it by means of a chalk out. Members of the community came together, figuratively of course, by uniting in street chalk art to honor Earth Day and to raise awareness about caring for the environment, all while staying physically distant. The Earth Day celebrations don't stop there. There will also be other events such as fundraisers and a 12-hour live stream tomorrow to educate and inspire members of the community in response to the coronavirus and climate change crises. In Sacramento, California, JP Era, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, JP. I hope you and your family stay safe. Now coming up, is distance learning working? We'll meet a high school teacher from Rockaway, New York, who will share with us some of the challenges and rewards many of her students have faced. Stay tuned. This is Eagle News.
Maraming salamat po sa nurse na nag-asikaso sa amin ng anak ko kahit sobrang busy niya.
Hindi po ako iniwan ng doktor hanggang sa umayos ang pakiramdam ko. Salamat po talaga.
Thank you po sa nursing assistant na pumansin agad sa amin pagdating namin ng ospital.
Thank you so much po talaga sa lahat ng staff ng ospital, maging sa mga utility po, dahil gumaling po ako dahil sa kanila.
Ating pasalamatan at pangalagaan ang mga magigiting na health workers.
This program is presented by
SMC Infrastructure, building a better world.
Co-presented by Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Kubert Industries Incorporated, Trading and Services, the cooling expert. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer, DN Steel, EMAT UPVC Roof Corporation.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
You're watching the EBC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic North America edition. I'm Philip Toledo. Practically overnight, teachers and students across the nation were forced into some sort of distance learning program. What was that like? And is it working? With us this evening is Cherry Paulino. She teaches algebra, trigonometry, and AP calculus at Rockaway Collegiate High School in New York. Thank you for joining us tonight, Cherry.
Hello.
Now, as we get started here, many of us find math challenging to learn. It's not everybody's favorite subject, let alone, I can imagine it's very challenging to teach. What would you say are the biggest challenges for teaching these higher level math classes when you're actually in the classroom?
The biggest challenges for teaching math actually is the subject itself. So students come in not liking it right away. So they have this idea that it's difficult, and it's up to me to make them realize that it's difficult, but they need it. It's a necessity. So they need it if they want to advance to college and beyond. And as of right now in high school, they're not realizing that. So that's the biggest challenge.
Absolutely. Now, before we get to how that's changed with distance learning, tell us what was the transition like? You were in the classroom one day, and then what happened?
Okay, so the transition is like a flip of a switch. It happened just like that. It was Sunday night, I remember, and I was preparing the next day, Monday. We are going to celebrate Friday, and then I got this message saying that we will not be going back to school. So it was like very sudden, because the Friday before that, our mayor was still saying we were going to go on and continue with our classroom education. And then on the Sunday, he changed his mind. He's saying we're not going back to school anymore. So then no one went to school on that Monday. And then they gave us 3 days to prepare for this online learning thing. So we were in school without students. We were in school Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so that we could prepare, find our platform, and I guess prepare some few in advanced lessons, and that's it. That next Monday, we were online, and half of the schools half of the teachers in my school, we practically do not know what to do. Not everyone in our school is technical or up to date with technology. So what my school did, we were partnered with some other teachers who hopefully know better than us in technology, so that we can work through it while at the same time using it to teach our students. It was very hard.
I can only imagine, especially, students, children, they like routine, and it sounds like all of a sudden, and like you said, the flip of a switch, it changed. So how did that transition affect the students, and how did their own success or challenge affect you?
It was very frustrating. It was frustrating even for the teachers. It was frustrating for the parents who were also staying home with the children. So my strategy was to call all my students, to get in touch with them personally, to make them feel that they're not alone. We are all in this together, and that if they're struggling, we're struggling too, but that we will go through it together. So that was my strategy, and I think it paid off, because I can see my classroom becoming full little by little. So every day there's like an added student who will go online with me. And to me, you might think that's not much, but for me, that's how I measure success in this type of remote learning. To be able to get in touch, and to be able to open my classroom, my virtual classroom, and students walking in. That's the most important thing. That students actually walk in and are willing to become a part of this
Absolutely. Now, looking back, are there things that you might have done differently, and why?
Now that I think about it, I was thinking if only we were given more time, I would have prepared my students psychologically first, because it's not just the education that they are worried about. So we are in Queens, New York, and if New York is the epicenter, Queens is the epicenter of the epicenter. So I have students whose family members are positive with COVID. I have students whose parents are in the medical field, and they are frontliners. So their mind is actually not into learning right now. Their mind is somewhere else. And so I have to think of ways to show them that I feel what they feel, and that we can set aside academics at some point, and then we can just talk about these things that are actually bothering them. Because if these things are not addressed, then the education or the academic side of it is not going to be successful.
Absolutely. That compassion is so important for all of us right now, especially students, young people that are going to school. Now, as you look towards the future and you're teaching these advanced or more advanced math classes, what would you say about distance learning as an option for this level of instruction?
I'm telling you, it's not for everybody. I am surprised myself. There are students who were not very successful in the classroom, but then when we switched to remote learning, they were very successful. So this is first, there has to be some acceptance. They have to realize that this is how way things are going to go from here on, at least until the end of the school year. So if they have learned to accept that, and that means then they are more willing to try this new thing. And also, if a student is struggling, like in the house, like the family side, then this is not for them. So, looking back, when we go back to the classrooms, I'm thinking, I'm going to try to see if blended classroom is good for my students. Like, let them have a little bit online and let them have a little bit of actual classroom. There is actually a term for that. It's called mixed classroom. So they learn the materials at home doing online, and then they go back to the classrooms. Then we actually discuss what they learned, and then we do the task together. So I'm willing to try that, and I think I'm gonna actually try to resort to that when things go back to normal. So just in case,
Absolutely, just in case. Now, how about you, Cherry? How has this experience affected you, both personally and professionally?
Professionally, definitely, it has helped me grow into, like, I guess, a more versatile teacher. It has opened my eyes into things that are not academic as far as my students are concerned, but I have to address those things also. Now, personally, well, I'm spending more time with my family now. We're all here. We're all sheltering in place. The only thing is, so my son is doing online education. My husband, he's also doing some online learning. And at the same time, I'm teaching. So we have to be in different parts of the house so that we don't hear each other, or else it's chaotic. But then we make sure that we have the same breaks so that we can still see each other. And then we try our best to have meals together. And in the afternoon, and I find this very healthy, and I even tell my students to do this. In the afternoon, we spend at least 15 minutes just walking around the neighborhood with our masks on, because it helps the blood go flowing, and then it helps you think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That sounds like great advice. Before we end here, is there any other advice that you have for fellow parents, fellow teachers, or even students who maybe experience some of the same things that you and your students are?
Yeah, for the parents, this is what I want to say. So don't sweat it. There are other important things than grades. I know that, I know me personally, I'm very concerned about my child's grades. But at the same time, you have to realize that they're struggling too. This is something that is new to them. So you have to give them some leeway. And then for the teachers, I also recommend reaching out personally to your students and even to the parents of your students. Call them. In other words, like, humanize the technology, because that's what they need for like these times. We're sheltering in place, we cannot really see each other, but then we need it. This time, they have to know that there is someone there that they can turn to or talk to whenever they need it.
Thank you so much, Cherry. As a parent myself, thank you so much for all that you do to help our children in their education, and I hope that you and your family stay safe and healthy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, when we come back, a sneak peek of EBC's online concert, #Fundemic. Enjoy the music beyond the crisis. Eagle News will return in just a moment. Stay with us.
The cooling expert, in participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, colorful protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer, DN Steel, EMAT UPVC Roof Corporation.
Star Tollway is a 41.9-kilometer highway that stretches out from Santo Tomas, Batangas all the way to Batangas City. An important component of the company's portfolio, the NAIA Expressway project, is a 5.4-kilometer elevated expressway that connects the Skyway system to NAIA Airport terminals and the entertainment city. SMC Infrastructure's ventures also include other projects aside from the toll road business.
You're watching the EBC International coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic North America edition. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta, Georgia. In commemoration of the Eagle Broadcasting Corporation's 52nd anniversary, the network is bringing to us #Fundemic, Enjoy the Music Beyond the Crisis, a digital concert. This event is to raise funds for the relief of our healthcare workers, frontliners, and communities affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's take a look. Now again, this concert will be online on April 26, May 3rd, 10, and 17 from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. Philippine time, streamed in all the EBC social media channels. Now before we end today, we have a few reminders for everyone. 1. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Cover your mouth and nose if sneezing or coughing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid contact with sick people. And if you are sick yourself, stay home and call your healthcare provider. Make sure to practice social distancing. Keep distance between yourself and others and avoid crowds. And finally, wear a protective face covering when out in public. Of course, we can't end with continuing to thank our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate. That is today's EBC International coverage of the coronavirus pandemic, North America edition. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope that you continue to stay safe and healthy. I'm Philip Toledo. We live in interesting